Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's go ahead and talk Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 14. It's just a blip. This is gonna be Mark and Lindsay's video. If you're brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns on various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. So, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel, thumbsing up the video if you enjoy this particular piece of content, and then hop into the comment section, y'all, so we can talk about this. So, as I've said in the first two videos, videos like these are harder, or episodes like these are harder for me just because it's a lot of group stuff and I take my notes couple by couple. But we're gonna thug it out, okay? So Mark and Lindsey. Lindsey drove. And when they get there, she's excited to go claim the best bedroom in her opinion, which is this bedroom that has this big window in it. So they get in, they run through the house like they're on the housewives, and they run and pick the best bedroom for themselves. The next I guess, oh, I skipped over something, see? Already. So later that day, the guys are all in the kitchen helping cook. Mark butchered that pepper that he was cutting. Lord have mercy. You can just tell that he don't cook. But Mark said that things are too unpredictable for him right now. Sometimes she's hot, she's cold, she's hot, she's cold, and it's hard for him to make like a decision about really what he wants to do. He feels that if they could really just maintain and be very even keeled, that he would have a better grip on her and a better idea on what marriage could look like for them. So he's kind of torn still on what to do because Lindsey gives a lot of mixed signals. So then we see Lindsey outside in the hot tub with the ladies, and Lindsey said, I didn't sign up to be his mother. And that his life is just so out of whack right now at this point. She said, we have evictions, we have unemployment, and she's going on, and Jasmina calls her dramatic. And I was on Jasmina's side with that because Lindsey, Mark didn't ask you to do any of this for him. He never did. The real thing is that Lindsey is trying to change Mark and mold him into the man that she wants instead of accepting the man that he is, the good and the bad, and making a decision on whether that is something that you are able to deal with. Mark has not once, that we have seen at least, Mark has not come on here and ask you to take on this role of taking care of him and all this other stuff. So I didn't understand why she even said that, but again, she wants attention. Lindsey wants everything to be on her. She wants the focus to always be on her. So they have dinner that night, and Elijah Wan is asking how. Before that, Michael thanks Steve for all the cooking because, Steve did majority of the cooking. The other guys were really just there. They helped with a little bit of prep. I think, was it Jasmina mentions that Mark doesn't have any pasta on his plate. And he was like, no, I'm good. So Elijah was like, I see you, Mark. You slimming down. All right. So everybody is like bigging up Mark. You looking good, bro. Like, how are you supposed to big up a friend? Lindsey. Lindsey was like, yeah, well, that's what having a wife does, limits the salt intake, and I'm the best thing's ever happened in his life. He told me that this is the best shape he's ever been in. Having a wife is just the best thing, and it's like, girl, stop. Then for some reason she does this like awful mechanical laugh that made everybody uncomfortable. Everybody was kind of looking like, the fuck is going on? But you know what was going on? So while they're all talking, Elijah brings up to the group, like, how has everybody been doing lately? Mark said, we had a good week. We had a really good week. Lindsey overtalks him and said, yeah, because, I started to get into a mood and Mark pulled me out of it. He told me that it's just a blip. It's just a blip. Don't let it get you off your square. And I'm like, Lindsey, the fact that you have to be told that is a whole nother set of whatever. So she you can just tell that Lindsey is just knocking back the wine because she makes dinner kind of uncomfortable. There were several times where like everybody would be talking and she would like blurt out something and then just laugh for like 2 minutes and no one else knows what the hell is going on. So the next morning, Mark is asleep and she's tickling him and like nibbling on his neck and he's like stop because he's asleep. They don't really have the type of marriage where he wants to be they don't have the type of marriage where he wants to be woken up like that with her. So she tells him, or he tells her, you can really just wake me up by just kind of nudging me, get on up. So she said that she wants someone that has more life in them. And he was like, all right, go outside. I'll meet you outside in an hour. So she's in her confessional. She said he's the first in the bed, the last one to wake up. He's the first one that's running to take a nap. That's not me. And it's like, Lindsey, I get it. I'm not a nap person myself either. I never take naps. If I'm taking a nap, it's because I have to be sick or something like that. But I do not take naps at all. But I don't fault other people that do. I would never tell somebody they need more life in them because they are taking a nap and I'm just not a person that, wants to take naps like that. So he comes outside and they are actually talking about how he is setting up a, what does he call it, a sound bath. Lord have mercy. He's setting up a sound bath for her, and they're talking about how she kind of has to be nice and quiet for it and all this other stuff. And he mentions, Lord have mercy, he mentions her being hyper. Her entire mood changes, y'all. Her entire mood changes and was like, that's rude. It's disrespectful. I don't want to talk anymore. And Mark was like, what happened? It was a joke. So she gets huffy and it's like, I'm not going to let anyone talk to me down or talk down to me like that or whatever. She gets up and she walks away. Production asks her, girl, you don't want to talk anymore? And she says no. She's in her confessional and she says that she has stopped allowing people to speak to her however they want. This is going back to my mom, and it's like, Lindsey, babe, sweetheart, honey, you have to go get some help. In all seriousness, Lindsey has unresolved mommy issues that is creating a crippling depression in her that makes her lash out in anger, right? And what ends up happening is Lindsey has become a person that can dish it out, but can't take it. You talk cash shit about this man all the time, but you're mad that he called you hyper. Being called hyper is not even a belittling thing. Hell, I've been called hyper before. Tam, you real hyper, because I'm a morning person. I wake up in the morning and I can pop up right like that. I'm a morning person. I have been on trips with friends where we have shared a room like in our early 20s and they're not morning people. So when I wake up and I'm opening blinds and it's like, you real hyper this morning, that's not a dig. It's not a dig. It's not the end of the world that somebody called you hyper. So Mark is like, I don't even know what happened, but whatever. She wants to have an attitude. She wants to be in the mood. Later we see Mark is building a fire. And Lindsey comes outside and he's like, looks good, right? She's like, I've seen better. Rude, for one. So then she is in her confessional and she says she's frustrated because it is hard for him to see how he has hurt her and how he has affected her. So she tells him, Mark, I think you're more negative than positive at times. And it's like, Lindsey, like, I feel like we talk about the same thing every episode with her. So he tells her, I didn't mean to make a joke. She says that all he does is try to disguise what he does, how he belittles her as jokes. And he shouldn't be saying anything to her right now if it is not, and I'm sorry. Don't tell me it's a joke. Tell me that you are sorry. She said that he does these jokes and he picks at her because he thinks less of her, and that is his way of belittling her to put her down to make her feel less of herself. She said she had a great morning and that her having a great morning intimidated him, and he wanted to put her down and knock her down to size so that he will feel better about himself. I said, "Girl, what did you take this morning? What did you do this morning that made you think something as ignorant as that?" And Mark was like, "That's what you took from that?" And she was like, "That's just how I feel." And I'm like, "Mark, go home. Go home. Get away from her. Leave her be miserable enough until she decides that she is going to go and get the proper help that she needs." That's it. She needs to go get the help that she needs, because this is crazy. So they do this sound bath. It's a really look like a really cool experience that I would like to do, where they're laying down. This man has different they look like bowls, but he was able to make different sounds with them. Mark fell asleep, but Lindsey said that once, there's different levels to it. You're supposed to clear your mind and like really open yourself up to the experience. And Lindsey said that by the time they got to the third eye level, she felt like the calmness of her grandfather's spirit just all around her. And we see her start to cry. And then again, it's something going on up here. And I'm not calling her crazy, but there is something going on up here that Lindsey needs to go get some help from. Now she has already said that she's sad all the time. I think that was a failed moment by Dr. Pepper to not address that. But she says she's sad all the time. And like now you think that someone calling you hyper is belittling you. You think that you waking up in a good mood is intimidating to your husband. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So they have the field day. They have the field day. The teams were Steve and Noy, Michael and Jasmina versus Elijah, Katina, Mark, and Lindsey. They do flip cup, they do kickball, they do dodgeball. It's all in good fun. Yay. So then back in the house, after eating, everybody ate their Domino's pizza. They did this game called Most Likely that Jasmina and Michael put together. It was a bunch of random questions that was just supposed to be good fun. It's like a never have I ever. But Lindsey started to be the answer for a lot of questions. So the first question was most likely to have cosmetic surgery. It was Noy. Noy wore it with a badge of honor. Okay. Most likely to be a liar was Jasmina. Cool. She took it, acknowledged it, thought it was funny. It was a funny. Ha ha. Everything's cool. So then it became most likely to spend the most money on their partner. Lindsey flipped hers over because she thinks that she would. Mark flipped his over himself. She laughed like a hyena. She laughed like a hyena. And everybody was like, "What's so funny, Linz? Like, what's going on?" And then she was like, "Is this a joke?" And he was like, "No, if you need something, I would buy it for you." So this is her first instance of being disrespectful just within this setting with them. The next question was most likely to be a stay-at-home parent. Noy said herself that she can raise her kids. Lindsey then said, "So are you saying if you work you can't raise your kids?" And Noy was like, "That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that that's what I would like to do." Because now Lindsey's been, okay, off the liquor. So then Lindsey was like, "Well, how are you going to do that on one income? Because, he doesn't work." And it's like, Lindsey. So then she says, "Because I believe in a 2-income household myself." So, like, it's awkward now, and everybody's just kind of sitting there like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So then we see her pour a little more, okay? So then Lindsey turns hers around and said Mark because he doesn't work either. We're at 3. So then it became most likely to lie about your sex life to friends? Mark said Lindsey. Lindsey said, yeah, because I tell him that it's good. And everybody was like, because again, 4 times now that you have disrespected him. What are we doing? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on here? So Mark is getting more increasingly mad, and you can tell that now nobody really wants to play the game anymore, because now you've taken it past the level of, oh, we're just having fun banter, to now you're drunk and you're throwing jabs at your husband unnecessarily. You're ignoring the fact that he's uncomfortable and that his feelings are hurt. But this is also like the second or third time that she has commented on Mark's sex game. Look, if Mark is not good at sex for you, if he is not pleasuring you the way that you want to be, stop having sex with him and be done with it. But doing this and then talking shit about him, not only behind his back, but now in front of him to other people, it's like, but you were sitting up there crying because he called you hyper. But look at all the stuff that you're doing to him now. So then it was most likely to start a fight. Almost everybody says Lindsey. So then Steve was like, so does that mean Lindsey started to fight on the airplane? Boom, psh. So like everybody starts laughing. So then Lindsey gets offended. I don't give a fuck what any of you say about me. No, before that, Lindsey was like, well, I don't think that's funny, blah, 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 whatever. And Steve was like, you know what, Lindsey? I'm sorry if I offended you. Because you know why? Steve is an emotionally mature adult. An emotionally mature adult. So Lindsey was like, so now we're ready to end the whole game because you have ruined the game for everybody. So Jasmine and Michael was like, all right, most likely to lose this game. Lindsey, now I did laugh when they did that, but Lindsey says, you know what? I don't give a fuck what any of y'all got to say about me. I know who I am. I sleep good at night. God knows my heart, and I don't give a fuck about any of y'all. It was very reminiscent to, for those of y'all that saw it, when the brat popped up on Lisa Ray's Fox Soul show, and Lisa Ray was like, everybody shut the fuck up. Everybody shut the fuck up. Y'all don't know shit. That's exactly... That's exactly what I thought about when I was watching this. But it's like, Lindsey, what are we doing here? So then she tops off her champagne as if she needs more. Now, I saw on Twitter people saying that these questions were designed to attack Lindsey. No, they weren't. They weren't. They absolutely weren't. Because who thought that Lindsey, I think most likely to lie about sex life to friends was definitely supposed to be Elijah. Most likely to be a stay-at-home parent was definitely supposed to be Steve. Most likely to spend the most money on their partner. Like, a lot of these things were not destined to be towards Lindsey. Starting a fight probably was. Lindsey even asked Jasmine, why did you say me? Jasmine said, because I have a lot of the stuff that has happened has been because of something that you have said. Lindsey heard that and couldn't take that somebody was like putting her to task, right? So the next scene that we get, like, things escalated very, very quickly. So the next scene that we see is Mark is like standing just in the kitchen, and Lindsey walks up to him and it's like, so you want to be part of production now? You want to be part of production? Is that why you walked away? And Mark was like, I walked away because of something that you said. So we get the typical, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. That Lindsey does literally every episode. So Michael is just trying to get himself a drink, and he's like, what is going on here? Michael goes downstairs to talk to Mark. Mark said, we were outside, all right, sitting around the fire. Lindsey was mad that I used her kerosene. Michael was like, the kerosene. And I swear, I paused my TV and was like, okay. But if y'all were making a fire. So Mark said that Lindsey grabbed his arm. He asked her not to, which he has asked her not to several times. She got mad, so he walked away. While this is happening, we see Lindsey walking down the stairs. I'm going to drive myself home because she's drunk. And then we see Elijah kind of walking her back upstairs. No, no, ma'am, we're not going to do this. So Michael tells Mark that there's a bigger issue at hand with this. This is not over the killing scene. You need to go talk to her, find out. You need to go talk to her, find out what is really going on that will cause her to wig out. Because I know and you know that this is not about you using some of her kerosene for that fire. So Mark doesn't want to, but he reluctantly goes up. She is dead to the world in a drunk sleep. Girl, you was just running down the stairs. How are you this sleep already? So he lays in the bed and she turns away from him and starts to cry. And he was like, "What are you crying for?" And the way that he said that was kind of like, okay, now we can't even really have this conversation because you are making it more about yourself than it really needs to be in this moment. She said that she was talking to Elijah, and Elijah told her that Mark was more than likely offended by some of the things she said in the game. She said, "I told Elijah that I am still trying to grieve my loss and not getting what she wanted in a husband." I don't think Lindsey ever wanted Mark. I think she was going to try to make it work. But anytime that Mark does not check off a box in what Lindsey is requiring, she just gets more and more upset about it and turn more and more aggressive about it. So she said that she wants to know who is going to honor her because she is constantly honoring him. She feels that I do everything I can to honor him, and said that she has, even now with pieces of his life falling apart, he tells her, "I'm sick of you saying that. That's a dig. You don't need to keep telling me this constantly, and I don't appreciate it." She gets mad. She said that we are going around in circles and this is too much work and it's exhausting and I just can't. So then Mark was like, "Well, I can't either." Mark gets up and walks out the room. Lindsey said it's going to be so easy to say no to him on decision day. Girl, do not think it's going to be hard for Mark to say no to you. I just want you to know that, Lindsey. Don't think that Mark is going to be up there really teetering, or should I say yes, should I say no? Don't think that for 1 minute, right? The next morning, Lindsey is sick. I'm thinking alcohol poisoning because of how much she probably drank in a very short amount of time. But Mark is getting up to take her to urgent care, and now she's all soft and just, "I'm sorry for what I said last night." No, you're sorry for what you said last night because now you need him. Now you need him to get you to urgent care. So Mark is taking her as he's driving her. The scene that we saw where she's about to like jump out the car is really because she has to throw up. So we see her later getting some fluids in her body, and oh, look, she's feeling better. That was alcohol poisoning. That was alcohol poisoning. That's what that was. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Let me know what you guys think about Mark and Lindsey. I cannot wait. We cannot get to their decision day fast enough to watch them both say no so we can get the hell on away from this season. This is ridiculous at this point. Let's talk about it down below.